what you have now on the internet, and if you look at the sort of Siskel and Ebert primetime years of the 70s through 90s as sort of the buffer zone between those eras, once the internet came in the early 21st century, you had all of these uh, film websites, and I've talked with some of these people. I've interviewed some of them. I'll interview some more of them. People have their blogs, and some of them have specialty blogs on sci-fi or golden age of Hollywood or foreign films, and this is all interesting. But on the other hand, most of them can't write well. Most of them don't have insights, and most of them, and by most I mean 95% or more, we'll just be talking about the films they like. It's again the old like dislike axis. I can't get beyond myself. I just have to talk about what I like or what I don't like rather than what is good or bad. And that has proliferated even more so. As bad as people might say Siskel and Ebert were in the dumbing down of criticism, it can't compare to what's gone on the internet. And it's a shame because on the one level, you do get people who are are definitely more uh, passionate than a lot of the film critics that write for newspapers. How many times have you ever looked online on Rotten Tomatoes or MRQE or any of these other aggregator sites, and you see, oh, the guy who writes for the San Francisco Chronicle, I think his name is Mick LaSalle, or the guy who writes for the Philadelphia paper, the LA Times, or the Washington Post, or the New York Times, and you know exactly what they're going to say. There's a guy who writes for Grantland, Wesley Morris, who I just read is actually going to be leaving that website, Grantland, to go to the New York Times. If you read his reviews, you know exactly what he's going to say. Speaking of Roger Ebert, I never had heard of this film critic named Armand White until I was somehow mentioned in a league with him. Uh, and he's someone who is even worse than Pauline Kael because he's a total psychotic that is just uses movies to grind his own axe. So it's a mixed bag. You can get certainly Cosmoetica has benefited from the movie reviews that I put out there. It's got me a little bit more notice, if not money or whatnot. But on the other hand, for every Dan Schneider out there, you're going to have 9,999 Joe from Cleveland. Hey, thumbs up. For some piece of shit movie that he simply likes. So it's a mixed bag, but it's mostly negative.